What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the other day, we finally went ahead and started to dig deep, dive into the movement that was introduced into Season 5. For anybody who doesn't know, the sliding has been buffed, and also jumping has been buffed in Modern Warfare 2 right now. Of course, for my first initial impressions, I enjoyed it, but like I said, we have to dissect it, we have to see what it's all about. So today's video is going to consist of me basically showcasing to you guys the comparisons, because there is a video out on the internet comparing the previous movement compared to, obviously what we have right now. And then obviously I'm going to go in game, showcase to you guys what we have, what's there, to offer, if it's even improved in the first place. I'm going to showcase some other games as well to kind of dissect and compare. And then at the end of the day, we're going to, come to the conclusion if this update was really worth it or if it's honestly just a massive waste of time. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and dive deep, if you do want to hear some more topics like this, if you want to hear some more commentaries revolving around Call of Duty with informational videos, topics about leaks or even just deep diving into seasons, don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification button. And last but not least, if you guys do want to be a part of the live streams and see us test stuff out like this live and in action and hang out with the community, you guys can find the link to my Kick channel down in the description of this video as well. We stream pretty much every day besides Sundays, starting around 12 to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, the footage that I'm going to be showcasing to you guys right now specifically is a post from Modern Warzone over on Twitter. Make sure you guys go ahead and check him out. This is very useful information right here. I don't know if it was him who recorded this or someone else. Maybe he was reposting it from another person. But at the end of the day, this is a comparison from Season 4 over to Season 5 when it comes to the movement. But I think it's a really good comparison because it showcases that basically this movement update virtually did nothing. But in reality, when it comes down to playing it, from a first-person perspective in actual gunfights, it kind of does. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and explain that a little bit later. But as you can see right here, the times are very similar. I mean, basically, your fire time from coming out of a slide is increased by a very minuscule number. And basically, your speed and distance is almost identical. But personally, from what I've noticed while playing the game and putting in hours, is that even though when you're visually looking at it side by side, it doesn't look like much of a difference while you're watching the individual, slide. If I'm watching an enemy across the map slide, it's going to look exactly the same. The distance they cover is going to be the exact same, so on and so forth. But what really changed, in my opinion, is the feeling. Basically, how fluid the movement feels overall. As you guys can see right here, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate to you guys exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the movement being fluid. Now, first and foremost, I do want to say the tack sprinting is still busted, so it kills the overall movement in this game. So until that gets fixed overall, I don't know if it's going to be much saving. At the moment, the movement is kind of really bad with the tack sprinting not resetting at the current time that it should. But until that gets fixed, I'm just going to, obviously, like I said, hyper-focus on the actual movement itself. And like I said, it's just a lot better. Basically, just so you have an understanding of what happened, they increased the speed of your slide instead of the overall time of your slide. So it's a little bit more quicker. Again, seeing someone slide, you probably won't really notice a difference. But when you go ahead and slide, yes, there's a difference, Getting from point A to point B is actually a pretty decent cycle. And as you can see, I keep momentum. I can get right back into my movement. Remember before when you slid, how it would stop you? And you had to feel like you almost had some bricks on your feet when you were sliding around. Right now, you can actually get a full slide through. Now, I will say, this is not slide canceling. This is kind of like your typical slide you would see back in the day with Call of Duty Ghost or, any other classic COD game where they introduced sliding, but not Modern Warfare 2019 status. Modern Warfare 2019 and Vanguard are, a thing of its own. And again, we'll talk about that later and if this is the good choice for them to stick with. But right now, all I can say is it's way better than what we had day one. And then when it comes to jumping, you jump higher. And at the same time, when you land, you don't feel, like I just said earlier, like you have bricks on your feet. It's actually kind of nice now, as you see, running around jumping doesn't kill you, You can actually keep your momentum going pretty nicely here. Except there, obviously, still slows you down. It's not as good as you would want it to be. But as you can see, usually when I do my jump like this, I'm done, you guys know my movement when it comes to this game. I usually do my little, tack, sprint, cancel type deal. Sadly, I can't do it anymore because it's broken, and they, like I said, they need to fix the time for it. But when I usually do my jump, that's it. When I jump, I usually want to find cover. If I'm going to jump shot to here, I want to jump shot to the cover because I know I'm going to be moving like a slug afterwards. But now, I can actually keep going. I can keep the momentum going low-key without having to worry about stopping up or, feeling, like I said earlier, like you have bricks on your feet. Overall, like I said, it's not really a visual thing that you're going to notice. It's more of just a fluent thing that you're going to have to get into the game. You have to get into the experience and try out overall. But the real question is this good enough? You know, after waiting 5 seasons, is this enough to get anybody back into the experience? And is it enough to make the game fast-paced enough? And again, I can agree that it is a good change, but from my testing and from putting in hours, this to me is just a band-aid over a much larger problem. And again, I don't really want anybody to expect any more perfected, movement out of this game or any more updates probably. I'm assuming that maybe they might have another one down the road, and I hope they do, because of course I'm going to leave some criticism on what I think can be improved. But I think this is just going to be something to, make the community a little bit happier. And then obviously when Modern Warfare 3 comes around, that is when we're going to get our completely revamped experience. And sadly, as we all know, it's going to be $70 DLC, but that's how they're going to bribe people in. They're going to say, look, we have a game that has faster movement. It's more fluent. We have more content. We put in, Ninja as a perk. We have a regular mini. That's how they're going to sell this game off to people. But when it comes down to this change right here, it doesn't really change the overall pacing of what we have in this game. At the end of the day, the majority of the attachments completely dumb down your weapons in every possible way. It encourages camping in every, way imaginable. And yes, these improvements are nice, and I do feel them. 1010% I feel them. It still does not stop players from playing the way that they want to play, which is, very aggressively camping, and this game still does 1010% cater to that specific playstyle. Now, when it comes to improvements, I gotta say, it doesn't really need too much more. Surprising enough, if you want my personal opinion. With all honesty, it just needs better, more fluent momentum when it comes to landing after your jumps and coming out of the slides. And at the same time, I do believe they should add in the cancel part of the slide. I know, it's a very harsh topic that a lot of people debate on. But I think being able to cancel the slide allows you to have a bit more of a skill gap, because you can pick and choose when you want that slide to end. The best possible example I think I can give you guys is Black Ops Cold War, at least out of the past 4 Call of Duty titles, because the direction that Infinity Ward is pushing with these recent updates to movement in Modern Warfare 2 2022 resembles something like I see in this game, and honestly, there have been problems with Black Ops Cold War, but movement, in my opinion, is definitely not one of them. In Black Ops Cold War, you pretty much keep momentum on everything. And obviously, it's not like, it's not pretending you never jumped, clearly. You're going to lose a little bit of, but, it doesn't make you feel like you have absolute bricks on your feet. As you can see right here, easy as that. You B-hop. It doesn't want you to spam it. Like, it doesn't want you doing this, spamming it nonstop, but, it's not going to stop you from B-hopping. If you want to B-hop a corner, it's not going to stop you from going. You see? Like, you keep that momentum. It makes you feel fast, fluent, clean, and it makes the gunfights just really intense, in my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? But again, this is what I want them to push in the direction of. Make sure that when you land, you keep that momentum. And again, you could see it. You could physically see it on the screen. You could see me lose momentum when I land after a B-hop, but it picks it right back up, In Modern Warfare 2, it's still a slight bit of lag when you go ahead and land. If that could just be polished off a little bit more to make it something of this sort, I think that would be good. And then, of course, the sliding in this game. Again, sliding in Black Ops Cold War, once again, is probably my favorite out of all the titles. And keep in mind, this game didn't have any tac sprint. It didn't have the tac sprint from Vanguard and Model for 2019 yet, and still, I really do believe that this is the best movement. But sliding in this game is extremely clean, and once again, does not kill your momentum. I'll show you right here, Basic slide, keep it going. Basic slide, keep it going. Basic slide, keep it going. You don't feel slow. You don't feel sluggish. This is something that Treyarch does very well all the time. My favorite thing about slide canceling, in my personal opinion, is, again, in a game where there's no tac sprinting to regen, out of, the slide canceling, because that's what made slide canceling so annoying in Modern Warfare 2019, is that it regened your tac sprint, so you felt like you had to do it all the time. But in games, when you don't have tac sprint like this, and you only have slide canceling, you use that as a skill gap. Let's say I want to peek wide on this with a slide. I can peek wide if I really want to. Bam. Let's say I want to peek short on this. I can cancel it and peek short. You pick the time of your slide. I can either go all the way. I can stop it right off. I can go halfway and stop off. You get to pick and choose how you want to actually move, once again, adding to the skill gap. And something like this would be phenomenal. I understand they don't want to add slide canceling or, the function of canceling your slide into Modern Warfare 2 2022. I don't know if they're planning on it in Modern Warfare 3. But again, It doesn't need to be something as spammy as Modern Warfare 2019 or Vanguard. It could be something as simple as Black Ops Cold War. Again, the movement in this game is nothing insane, in my personal opinion. Compared to stuff like, you see out there like Apex Legends, for example, Fortnite, all these other games where they're just going absolutely bonkers, even X-Defiant as well. This movement is very simplistic, yet extraordinarily effective, and there's still a skill gap to be had. But ladies and gentlemen, to go ahead and sum up this video, these changes in Modern Warfare 2 are actually pretty darn good. Again, they might not be noticeable with your eye when you're watching an enemy come flying across your screen, but when you go ahead and use these maneuvers, you'll notice that it's way more fluent, and you'll probably like it a lot more. Of course, it's not going to be, the game changer for Modern Warfare 2 2022, and I just showcased exactly what they need to do to improve it, but the real question is, will they go ahead and do so? I don't think so. I really think Modern Warfare 3 is going to be when we see some major changes. If we see anything else, it might be a time to kill change, but other than that, there's probably an extremely small team working on this game, and they're just trickling along at this point. I'm just hoping that the future can keep getting perfected, and that, these changes they made in Modern Warfare 2 are a sign that they understand the direction that we want to go in, and when they start developing a game from the ground up, that's how they're going to go ahead and, push it towards, a nice in-between of what we had back in the day with classic COD to, what Call of Duty is evolving to be. It is evolving. Let's be honest. Call of Duty is evolving. It's becoming a bit faster. And, even with Modern Warfare 2019, where I thought it was the campiest game ever, the movement in that game was still extremely smooth. It was ridiculous, COD is changing. So to find the middle ground is something that's hard, but they're getting closer and closer every day. I don't believe that they're going to be able to drop the ego enough to do it for the community. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it up to you guys down in the comment section to go ahead and talk it out. Let me know what you guys think about all of this stuff. Do you feel the changes with the movement of Modern Warfare 2? Do you not feel the changes with Modern Warfare 2? Or are you even still playing the game at this point? But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, bump, say hate it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new, enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and the notification button. Also, want to chat with this two way to do so, I have a Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And also want to catch me live streams of video games over on Twitch. Link to this in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.